Hello there, and many thanks for joining us on Joy Asonye Live this beautiful evening. Now, across the African continent, the call for economic transformation has never been louder, and one of the most under-leveraged engines of that transformation is the African diaspora, with an estimated 160 million Africans living outside the continent and contributing over $95 billion annually in remittances. That's according to the World Bank in 2023. There is enormous potential for diaspora-led investment to reshape Africa's economic narrative. However, this potential is often hindered by persistent challenges: weak regulatory frameworks, corruption, insecurity, bureaucratic bottlenecks, and poor infrastructure continue to discourage long-term investment in many African nations, including Nigeria. Now, in addition, negative global perception, unstable exchange rate, and inconsistent policies further erode investor confidence amid these complexities. Ambassador Eze Chukwu, an advocate for Pan-African collaboration and the convener of the Diaspora Africa Conference, has taken bold steps to bridge the gap between Africans at home and abroad. Now, in its 5th edition, the conference has become a platform for dialogue, networking, investment, matchmaking, and advocacy, aimed at uniting the diaspora for sustainable investments back home. Today we speak with him about the urgent need to mobilize diaspora for Africa's development, the barriers standing in the way of investment, and how upcoming editions of the Diaspora Africa Conference aims to offer solutions. Welcome again to Joy Asonye Live, and thank you so much for being part of the program, Ambassador Eze.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you, and thank you for having me over here.
Right. We'll go for a short break. When we return, it will be time to get to the crux of the matter. Stay with us. We'll be right back shortly. Welcome back from that very short break. It's time to get to the crux of the issues. Ambassador Eze, it's so wonderful to have you join us.
Thank you so much for having me, Joy.
Right. Now let's talk about the investment climate in Africa. When you have these conversations in other parts of the world, what's the perception about the confidence that people have, and people in diaspora? I know that they've been burned severally, but is there confidence at all?
Yes, I would say I'll give you a quick example that the recently concluded offshore technology conference in Houston, Texas, where we had a whole lot of Nigerians in oil and gas sector attend that conference in Houston. So I met this Caucasian guy who actually came to the NNPC stand in Houston, and he was talking about how many times he's been into Nigeria, and that he got into wrong hands. And while we were at that stand, I also had an NNPC staff who was saying that, well, he went to the wrong place because he should have done due diligence before he thinks about investment in Nigeria. And that's why we are encouraging participants of the African Diaspora Conference to make sure that they profile organizations where they're going to have their investment get into. So laying the structure, infrastructure, creating that confidence is very, very important for us here in Africa, for those Africans in the diaspora to come and invest here in Africa, considering the fact that they are coming from an organized society, a very more organized society, where the healthcare industry, the educational industry, transport industry, hospitality industry is really working well, right? So it becomes challenging for them to come to a place where it doesn't work like they're used to. So what as an ambassador of the African diaspora, what I normally pass a message to them is to make sure they understand how business is done over there and find a niche where they can put a change to it. So it's still shaky, but trust me, the whole world knows that the Africans in the diaspora and the African people of African descent want to come back to Africa. it's something that is very, very interesting to a lot of people of African descent in the diaspora.
Well, I just remembered as you were speaking that there are stiffer economic policies, one that is, for instance, more American-minded. And I mean, look at the travel advisory ban that was recently given to Americans who want to come into Nigeria. And it says, oh, because of kidnapping issues and several that was mentioned, you have to rethink your coming to Nigeria, for instance. You just came into the country. You see how peaceful we are. You know, it's not as volatile, security volatile as it's often painted. Does that also do us more harm when it comes to the advocacy for returning back home, investing back home?
So I would say that thank you so much for having us here at ADB, and it's a great opportunity to give us this platform to discuss this very important conversation. It is the media, the way the media presents things. If we don't have control over the media, people don't get to know what's going on.
Right.
I've been in Abuja for the past 2-3 weeks, and what I've seen in Abuja, it's amazing. It's the topography, the development, the infrastructure that I'm seeing happening in Abuja is amazing. But we don't see that in the diaspora. People don't get to see that this is what happens in Abuja. This morning I had breakfast in a place called Akara Cafe or something like that.
The advertising.
I know, but I'm like, oh my God, this is an amazing spot, and I liked it, right?
Right.
So I'm like, you see, we have businesses around here that are, accepting who we are and projected it in the right way, right? And insecurity part of it is there, but I mean, you're not going to find yourself in the middle of anywhere in the world and be safe. So if you stay around where the terrain is safe, you're going to be safe in Africa. I mean, like, I don't move around with security. I don't move around with anything because I don't cause no harm.
You don't need to, actually.
Right? So I can actually walk around the streets of Abuja and I'm safe. So I think it's the way the media is trying to, bring us down to make us look like this. It's highly insecure over here. It's not that bad like the media prints it.
Beyond the security issues, what are the other barriers that concerns diasporas when it comes to investment? Not just diasporans, really, everyone, foreign investment.
So I think it's the structure. I think it's the structure that we have in place that is a huge challenge, because when people want to come, they want to be able to have access to internet. They want to have access to electricity. They want to have access to the kind of shelter accommodation that they want to see happen, right? So if the roads are not good, it becomes also a challenge. So those infrastructure is a huge challenge for me that would stop somebody from trying to come to Africa for investment.
Okay. I had a conversation with someone who was so eager to improve the real estate. There's something about coming here, seeing so much potential, and you say, I want to improve this. There's so much I can bring in here. But when he started, there were so many confusing regulations. There was the land ownership dispute here and there, inconsistencies, and the several taxes. In that regard, what's your advice to government? I don't know if it's peculiar to Nigeria or it's an African problem where regulations are not as clear as one would expect.
Yes, quite interesting. With the Diaspora Africa Conference, which I convene and which we have hosted in Zanzibar, in Ghana, and we're going to Nairobi.
And which we will talk in depthly in a bit.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Yeah, when we went to Zanzibar, for example, we had a place called Fumba Town that is within the African Free Trade Zone area. And they were organized with what they call the Real Estate Development Association in Zanzibar, and they were able to showcase real estate over there in a way that someone will be able to see a buyer's realtor, a seller's realtor, and have a title company to close real estate transactions. Now, you could argue and say it's a little island, right? But when you go to Ghana, when we hosted the conference in Ghana, we also saw that they also had some form of structure around real estate development. But coming to Nigeria, it's a lot. Like, for the past time that I've been in Abuja, I will tell you that everybody's a real estate agent or a realtor. Now, and the prices are not regulated. And I wonder how real estate is being, transacted over Yeah, for me, trying to understand who am I going to close deals with, where's the title house, which organization is actually propelling it. So it's still that same structure that I'm talking about, that we need to get it right over here for those investments to get into those infrastructure investments.
Okay, so let's address this issue. Generally speaking, Nigeria continues to be viewed as a risky investment destination. And this is you having these conferences and telling people it's okay. Do you get trust? Are people believing it? Has it changed the perception of people about Africa and Nigeria, for instance?
To be honest, like I'm always honest, right? I like to say things the way they are. I like to exercise candor. We're getting there. We're going to get there. It's going to get to a melting point where things will be done the right way. And I would say that the structure is coming little by little. You see a real estate investor thinking about infrastructure, putting structures around it. I was at the FCDA today, and I was happy my friends at the FCDA, they were telling me that the FCDA would not go ahead and give allocations without putting infrastructure there. And I also went to private real estate development, and they're saying, okay, we're going to build development fees for infrastructure. So the market, like I said, is going to get to a melting point where, you know, real estate developers, realtors will all come together, brokerages will come together to find a way to create that synergy between the consumers and the developers of those real estate.
We keep hearing the ease of doing business goals for the African government. We are improving the ease of doing business goals. If you have to advise, having transcended continents in what you do, what would it be, for instance, to African governments to really improve the ease of doing business and the environment for investors?
So I'll give you an example. When I was at the Diaspora Africa Conference in Zanzibar, I met a diaspora who came from the UK who returned back to Zanzibar to help, you know, in the development of the Zanzibar businesses. And what he said to me was that the banks have failed. And I was wondering, what do you mean by the bank has failed? He says the job of the banks is to help to encourage small, medium-scale businesses to be able to have businesses work. So I think that funding is a huge issue for businesses to develop. There are lots of ideas that they lack cohorts, they lack funding for their structures. I get bombarded on a daily basis for people who have ideas, who are looking for, you know, venture capitalists who will be able to help them propel their investors. We have a lot of human capital talent here in Africa, and we need to get them together. You know, I was talking to a company in Houston, Texas, when we had the Diaspora Africa Conference in Houston, Texas, at the Ion Building, and it was Microsoft, and they had this Xbox group of people who were talking about, you know, games, and I'm like, do you know that we do not have game developers in Nigeria? And I'm like, where are they? Because they have a lot of opportunity, talented people in Africa who can develop games, right? We're talking about blockchain technology today, and we still have regulations around blockchain technology, whereas the world has moved ahead with blockchain technology. So we need to start, you know, looking into empowering people with initiatives, and that's why our conference is heavily focused on founders, startup businesses, to be able to encourage them and fund them to be able to achieve their business dreams.
Okay, so having said that, I mean, we have the talent, we have everything that's necessary. So the regulations that we are facing, young people seem a bit frustrated because in the tech world, it's largely self-taught. There's no this what's it called now, where a hub, one large place, one-stop place for tech where young people can learn. Everything Nigerian young people have is self-taught. So in that regard, what was your recommendation after making it clear that we do not have a gaming community in Nigeria? What's your recommendation?
So I was in the Ikeja one day, and I went to lodge at the hotel when I came from the airport. And it was like a four-story building hotel, and I went to the rooftop to go to the poolside. When I got to the poolside, I saw a couple of young boys in one room, very, very hard room. It was supposed to be the gym room, right? And when I looked into there, I saw all of them with computers. And I was curious. I said, what are you doing with computers? Somebody said, he's trading. I said, wow, you're trading? He said, yes, what are you trading? He said, he's doing Bitcoin trading. Another person said he was dealing on stocks. And the weather in there was so hot. The generator noise was too much. And I'm like, wow. Imagine getting this youth in a tech hub like we have in Houston, Texas, where we normally host the conference at the Ion. You have free internet. You have free chairs to have meetings. You have water free. You have conferences happening every day that help startups have opportunity to do that. I also think that we should also have institutions around the city, because those institutions will help provide those kind of tech hub for coming up talents in the tech industry, because the tech industry, we are so not gaining in Africa, because you can hardly see innovations that are coming up from the tech industry in Africa. Everybody is jumping on AI. What are we doing with AI? Just like the internet woke up on us. With the AI, we're looking at artificial intelligence. What are we using it for?
Right.
How are we using it for? What is the future of it? Are we mitigating against the harm that comes with it? It has a lot of good things with it. What are
the privacy issues has not even been addressed here
exactly.
in the country.
So the government and the people should also know that it's our responsibility to guard our community. We need to make sure that the access that we're teaching our kids to artificial intelligence would be one that will not be detrimental to us in the future. So I would say that the governments should put in those regulations that will help us understand which area and direction we need to go when it comes to development in tech, in the tech world, and provide those institutions around. Imagine that if you go to a place, connect to their Wi-Fi, browse, do internet, connect with people and increase your knowledge. And if we don't have electricity, electricity is also a big problem. I still find it difficult that some people still sleep without electricity at night. How are they going to wake up in the morning with their brain straight when they are battling with mosquitoes at night and the weather is still hard for them to sleep? Their brain is not going to work better.
Did you just say one night?
Oh,
there are some communities that have not seen, unfortunately, but yes, there are some communities that have not seen electricity for several weeks and months, and unfortunately nobody is bothered. And how energy or how power energizes MSMEs, for instance.
Sure.
So it's very frustrating. But beyond these infrastructures that are not available, how about punitive measures for those who have defrauded investors? For all of that, we are still battling with reforms in our judicial system that gives that confidence to Nigerians, give confidence to everyone. What would be your take on that?
Well, I think it's the law, and I think that I was listening over the news. I saw that they have started having a conversation on constitutional reviews, because if the law rules the world, and if our constitution does not conform to what the present world is, it becomes a challenge. So I think putting legal implications based off of the law is what we need to put very, very strong emphasis on how to make sure that these punitive measures that you mentioned are actually implemented.
Right. Well, we have covered a lot around what we can do to improve investor confidence in Nigeria. We're going for a short break. When we come back, it will be time to get to that conference that we promised. So much is to be said about that conference that will give you an idea as to how Africa can be better and an investment destination. We'll be right back.
Now here's some exciting news. ADBN is everywhere you are. Stay connected with us across all our social media and streaming platforms for exclusive news updates, captivating stories, and more. Join the ADBN community today. via our various platforms on Avo TV app, ADBN channel 121, Niger TV app, ADBN TV, Limix World TV app, ADBN TV. To get the latest news straight to your phone, join our WhatsApp channel. Just search for ADBN TV and hit the follow button. Turn on your notification to stay updated and never miss any part of the experience. Stay in the conversation with us across our social media handles on X at ADBN_TV, Instagram at ADBN_TV, Facebook ADBN TV, YouTube ADBN TV_NG, and keep visiting our website on www.adbntv.com. Watch us live anytime, anywhere. ADBN TV, a part of you.
Welcome back from that. We are discussing the Diaspora Africa Conference that's coming up shortly, and we have Ambassador Eze still right here with us to give us everything we need to know about the conference. Now, this is the 5th edition. Tell us where you started, why you started, and where you started.
Wow, it's a vision that I had in 2014. While when I moved to the United States, I've spent over 13 years in the United States, and when I got there, I realized that as an African, I didn't have so much opportunities in the diaspora that I needed to come back home. Remember, I'd finished my college here in Ahmadu Bello University Zaria, and I decided to move to the United States. But I realized that if Africa was going to develop and get better, that it had to come from the diaspora. I knew that already when I got there, because I saw that we had doctors, we had pharmacists, we had nurses, we had people in tech. These were people who are doing amazingly well in the US. And I put my friend one day, who's a nurse, working so hard at the Methodist hospital in Houston. I said, hey, Tony, if I'm to take you back to National Hospital in Abuja and pay you the same salary, will you go back home? He said he wouldn't want to take the whole salary. Just give me half of it and he'll go back home. I said, wow, this is interesting. And I talked to African Americans and said, look, you are from African descent. People that look like me and you need you in Africa. When you go back to Africa, do you think you? They say absolutely that they want to go back to Africa. And I asked myself a question. If I have an opportunity to leave the snow in Maryland and come back to Nigeria, would you come back home? I said absolutely. So I started up as a software engineer. I built the Diaspora Africa mobile app. I started connecting Africans within the mobile app, and in 2023 we started up the conversation, and it started at the Ion in Houston, Texas, and it was an amazing success. We had people coming from the ambassador for the Nigerian ambassador to Jamaica, Ambassador Tamuno Morin. She was our keynote speaker. She flew all the way from Kingston, Jamaica, to keynote that conference in Houston, and she really put up a call for us to go back home to help develop Africa. And that conference was an amazing success, but something amazingly happened. An African American came up to the panel, in the real estate panel we had, and had said that he has the highest resort land in Zanzibar. And people were like, oh, whoa, this is interesting. Before you know it, the crowd was clapping hands for him. And then we decided to go to host the second conference in Zanzibar. That was how we ended up in Zanzibar. And so when we got to Zanzibar, we started building up the team, the momentum came, and we started saying, you know what, let's start going to African countries. Let's not just stop in America, let's come back home. So from Zanzibar, we went to Ghana. Ghana was great. We had the Nigerian Chamber of Commerce and the Ghana Chamber of Commerce coming together to sign MOUs, and that was interesting. And the African Americans that came, the Intuitive Global, a lot of Warren Winston from the African, government advisor on trade in the US. They were all interested in what was going on, especially with the real estate and the agro trade that was happening in Ghana and in the Kumasi area, and it was very, very interesting. And we said, you know what, let's go back to Houston, Texas. Let's go show them that, look, Africa, we can do it. And we went back to Houston, Texas, and we had a very great Pan-Africanist, the #1 man in Houston, Texas, former Mayor Sylvester Turner, may he so rest in peace.
Oh, he passed.
He passed. He was the keynote speaker. He was the former mayor of Houston, and he was a Congress member. And he came and said that we Africans, we need to come together as one. And that was how we decided to go back to Kenya to come and host the 5th edition of the Diaspora Africa Conference.
What would you say are the lessons you've learned so far in having doing this thing? What are the top 5 lessons, for instance?
Well, the first thing I would say is if the vision is from God, you must have a provision from God. So it's been very challenging to get people of African descent to come back to Africa because of, again, how the media propels Africa in their eyes. In fact, somebody is coming from Ohio for this conference in Nairobi, and she's saying, I need shorts, I need yellow card, I need this, I need that. I said, ma'am, it's okay. If you don't get it, just get anti-malaria. You're only going to be there for only 7 days. You're not going to spend a whole 1-2 months, right? And another lady, Melissa, says, Eze, I want to come, but I don't want to have needles on my body. So those are the challenges that we have to convince them that Africa is not where you see Tanzania. Oh my God. And I'm like, I've been showing them videos and pictures, and guess what? The ticket sales is going up and up and up.
So
like,
getting line
today
now.
I have a pastor who is coming from Ohio with Deborah, and they've confirmed their flights. They want to come. These are people who are coming to Africa for the first time. And that's why we are very, very conscious of where we're taking them to in Africa. Nairobi has Kenya Airways who have helped us with sponsorship of that conference. And we are really happy and excited to go to Nairobi.
Okay, so I was just about to ask about the theme, speakers, and the sectors the conference will be focusing on, and the flyer is right there. Will it include practical matchmaking for investors and project owners?
Yes, so if you look at what we have on the screen, we have Professor PLO Lumumba, who is a well-known Pan-Africanist who has PLO Foundation in Kenya. That was strategic. We also wanted to bring somebody who is from Kenya, who understands the African terrain very well, to be a keynote speaker. But we have somebody interested in that flyer. Her name is Pastor Esther Obasi-Ike. She's actually a Nigerian. And she's lived in Kenya for over 30 years. And she has one of the highest women empowerment centers that has about 5,000 acres of land that she's building in Nairobi, in Kenya. Now, she's out there, a Nigerian, right, having to, empower women in Kenya. And that's what I'm talking about. We Africans, we are one. A Nigerian can wake up today and say, you know what, I don't want to be in Port Harcourt, I don't want to be in Ibadan, I want to go to Freetown, I want to go to Cape Town, I want to go to Zanzibar, I want to go to Dar es Salaam. That's what we want. I know somebody who is in Zambia. They are moving yam from Ghana to Zambia. They are moving white maize from Rwanda to Zambia. And they're also coming to the conference. They are doing business worth $1 million in Africa. Guess what? They've never been to the West. So
and they don't need to be
we do not need to be in the West.
Everything they need is within Africa.
Ours. So we need to find a way to make sure that we pass the message, which is why I'm happy that you all are hosting me today on air to talk about this, because what we lack a lot is media content. Right? People just go online, go and only watch maybe home video, watch something on Instagram. They're not really paying core attention to what's happening up in their environment.
Absolutely.
When we talk about agro trade, sorry, I'm trying to put this in.
By all means, because I know that's one of the
agro
areas
trade.
you address.
Agro trade is the convention we want to have over there. We have our partners, Farm Yields Africa, Tractors for Africa, who also sponsor the agro trade. By the way, the agro trade section, we have named that section, to memorize the past mayor of Houston, Sylvester Turner.
Oh, okay.
So we're going to use him for the agro trade. But I was in the eastern part of Nigeria, and I went to the local market to go get yam. And when I went to the market to get yam, they said, no, this is not the season for yam. And I was looking at this yam, looking like it has kwashoko on it. I said, I can't eat this because this is not the kind of yam I'm expecting to eat. They said, no, they know what you're talking about, but this is not the season. Now, that triggered my interest. And I started asking myself questions. Why should yam be seasonal? When we have water, rainfall, almost all through the year.
Right.
Why can't we find a solution to not making yam seasonal? In fact, my dad, behind his house, he decided to use what do you call it, a bag, or like the sack bag. And he said he's experimenting it for the first time, and he decided to sow the yam in it. And today, I'm hoping that when next I come, I'm going to eat from that yam, and it's going to be as fresh as I want it.
Right.
So agro trade is very, very important to us. I went to a place also, the Cereal Research Institute, and you know, Africa is great. Our leaders before now, they had good intentions for Africa. I went to a place in Omaha called the National Cereal Research Institute. And when I looked at that Cereal Research Institute, I saw they had about 9 hectares of land. I saw that they have a non-functional laboratory. And I started asking questions. Why is this place not functional? That's a 9 hectares of land that is very, like 10 minutes from the city. Now, when that land was acquired by the government, the leaders that pushed for that land to get into the hands of the federal government, they did that because they wanted to empower their local people to work in that research institute. We have a Cereal Research Institute that does not do any research at all. I have images of that research institute, and we are still complaining that we don't have tomatoes in the east. I've been going around, I've not been able to see visibly the green, the green yard kind of farming where you can be able to get bell peppers and stuff like that.
Right.
Why would we not have fresh tomatoes in Nigeria?
Or year round, in fact. When we have innovations across the world, there are several innovations around the agricultural sector. It just seems like government who should maybe champion this. I know there's been so much conversation around private sector coming in with these innovations, but I believe that Nigerians aren't poor. Nigerians can actually invest here, but the regulations around it is the problem. And that brings me to the next question. You are asking the diaspora Africans to come invest in Nigeria. Africans within themselves are unable to trade freely between themselves. These same regulations, in spite of the African Free Trade Continental Area Agreement or agreement, we still have issues. Flying to Kenya, for instance, I don't know how seamless it's going to be for you, but I know how expensive. I was supposed to attend a public relations event not long ago. I looked at the tickets. I'm like, I could just have been flying to New York with this same amount of money, but that's how expensive it is. Enterprises are struggling within African continent. So how are we going to bridge this very important gap so that we could see a vibrant Africa to Africans investment and business, then get investor confidence?
Great, thank you for that. I also want to give a good kudos, great clap for Kenya. Today, the Kenyan government have released that you can go to Kenya visa-free if you're an African. So you don't have no visa issues, just fly your plane, go to Kenya, and you'll be able to get into Nairobi without a visa if you're an African. Now, when I was going to Zanzibar, I had a huge challenge. I have an American passport, I also have a Nigerian passport. But when I got to, I tried to get a visa on arrival when I got to Zanzibar, and they were saying that with an American passport you can get a visa on arrival, but with a Nigerian passport they will not grant you a visa on arrival. Now that is one of the huge challenges that we have in Africa. And I remember when we had the Afro-Exim annual meeting in the Bahamas with Dangote in the panel section, and he was saying that it's more difficult for him to move within Africa than to move outside the world.
Exactly.
So we need to get better at that. because we are one in Africa. We shouldn't be looking at each other. If there's opportunity for a Nigerian in Dar es Salaam, let him go to Dar es Salaam. If there's an opportunity for someone in Burkina Faso to come to Liberia, let him go to Liberia. It's one country. It's just like you saying, like, I'm coming from Florida and I need a visa to come to Texas. Because
that would be ridiculous.
That would be ridiculous. They'll be like, what are you saying?
Exactly.
Like, we're the same people. Right, so the government, my friend Maxwell in Zanzibar during the conference in Zanzibar has said, the governments have to make it easier for those in the diaspora to want to come back, because they really want to come back. And I applaud what is happening in Nigeria today. We're trying to have a system to grant citizenship to people of African descent to come back home. This massive piece of land that we have everywhere in Africa, we all can't take it. It's not going. There are people of African descent who want to come back and get those lands. So I mean, the African Diaspora Union is also a great doing a great job trying to push that bill within the House of Assembly. And kudos to the Chairman Committee of representing the African diaspora. They are doing a great job with the Nigeria Diaspora Commission. We are trying to get them back home. The moment the Africans in the diaspora come back to Nigeria and will join forces, trust me, that is the solution we need. That's what we're looking for, and it's going to happen very soon.
So how can this conference bridge this, address all these issues we have mentioned so far?
And that's why we have this, we have taken our time to profile those who are going to come for this conference.
Okay.
So this conference, we're expecting about 200, 250 people. And we have handpicked those who are coming for this conference. We have chosen people who are in the different sectors who are, I have a mining engineer who is from Namibia, who is in Australia, who is bringing her mining expertise to this conference, because we've identified that solid minerals is in high demand, and we have the highest deposit of solid minerals in the world. And I was in what do you call it, this area close to Karoo in Abuja. They call it Karachi.
Karachi.
Karachi. What Nasarawa State has is even bigger than what Abuja has, because of the lithium deposit in Nasarawa State. Right. So lithium is what's going around the world, because everybody is dependent on electric cars.
And exactly.
Right. So, and where is it? It's in Nasarawa State. So what we have is a lot that we're sitting on. We're sitting on top of gold, diamond, solid minerals. So what we are doing at this conference is to be able to get those Africans who are in the diaspora, who have acquired skills in different areas, to bring them back to Africa to help develop it. And we're on conversations with Kogi State. I had this also in Oyo State, to see if we can create the way we have a refinery for oil and gas. We want to also create a mining refinery, so that we don't just come and take the solid minerals and push them abroad, and they come back and sell us e-vehicles here and we'll buy it so much money like we've been doing in the past. We want to be able to make sure that they refine those solid minerals here, and they come to a meeting place where we're going to sell it out to them. Right? So we don't manufacture, we don't make jewelries here in Africa, right? But we have the solid minerals. They come and take the raw gold, take it to Dubai, and we'll fly to Dubai and go buy it and come back home.
But that has been our story for a very long time.
But it's changing.
From the times of trade and barter, that has been our story. So some of the things you're going to address with this conference, you highlighted it here as real estate and infrastructure, fintech and digital economy, agro-tech and food security, healthcare and wellness, African identity and global unification. So do you have resource persons in all of this, and what do you aim to achieve by addressing these issues?
So yes, this is a very interesting question, and if you look at the flyer again, we have Queen Eze. She does African roots worldwide. And she's going to do the African identity and global unification. The truth about it is that we need to accept that we are Africans.
Okay.
And that there's nothing wrong being African. Right? We need to remove the colonial mentality that has been buried in our souls, in our mind for many centuries. There's nothing wrong with you being dark skinned. There's nothing wrong with your hair not being straight. There's nothing wrong with your nose not looking like the Caucasians. We need to be able to accept and be comfortable with our clothes. I'll tell you, as an African American that does 40 Acres Conference in Houston, Texas, and I saw him at my conference, I said, I'm going to give him my normal kaftan, senator wear like I'm wearing right now. The day he wore that clothes to my conference, you know what he said? He said, my brother Eze, this is the first time that I feel like I know what I'm doing. Now, this person is an African American, but when they wear the clothes, it resonates with the body that they have. So I find it difficult to see our people not accepting the African identity that they have, because that's who we are. We can't change. No matter how hard we try to wear ties, wear bow ties, our weather is not too hot. It's not too cold for those kind of clothing. We can wear safety clothes and still come out. So let us identify who we are. We are rich in culture. So Queen Eze is going to do that. And also, when it comes to real estate, we have George Wachiri. George Wachiri has a resort land that is of interest of people of the diaspora, because tourism is heavy in Kenya, and we have resort lands. If you go to Kenya and want to spend a night, you could spend $1,700 in maybe a 7-bedroom what do you call a villa for events, and a lot of tourism. Any country that doesn't have tourism is losing a lot of money. So we want to be able to be the owners of those tourist attractions. If you go to Zanzibar today, you can hardly find a resort that is owned by a Zanzibarian. They are all owned by people who don't look like me and you. And that's what we're saying. We want to start having ownership in all those places. Imagine you going to your village in Akwa Ibom or Cross River State, and you get there and somebody wants to sell a land to you, and the person is from the person is from let's say the person is from Pakistan. How you gonna feel? Like, this is my father's land, this is my grandfather's land, but look, you don't own it anymore. And if we are not careful, we say we own Africa, but we don't own anything. Because if you go to Fumba town in Zanzibar, Zanzibarians can afford to own there. And that's what is happening. Right? So we need to start taking positions in Africa, and I'm happy. My brothers, my African American brothers, are doing a great job. If you go to Kenya, you see Kellis. Kellis is doing a great job in agro-trade. If you go to Ghana, you see Dre Taylor. He's doing a great job in real estate. If you go to Zanzibar, you see Max Maxwell. He's doing a great job. So we are taking positions. And this message is for Nigerians in the diaspora. If we all don't come back home, by the time we end up thinking of coming back home, we'll find out that the positions are no longer there. So I encourage you all, come back home. I know it's tough, I know it's rough, but guess what? This is the only place we can call home. Right. So let's come back. Whatever is happening, let's do it. Let's do it.
But who can participate in this Diaspora African Conference? Is it only Africans in diaspora?
Oh, great. It's not just only Africans. When I address people in the diaspora, I call friends of Africa. We have people who are not Africans who love Africa from their heart. I have Dr. Takar, who is from the African Health Business Hub, who is also going to be a panelist. He's from the Indian boy, he's lived all his life in Kenya. He's a Kenyan, right? And then when you look at Mark York is from the United States. He supports Africa with Tractors for Africa and Farm Youth Africa initiative. So whoever has the good intention for Africa are those who are calling to be part of it. So at our conference, wherever you're coming from, if you identify yourself as someone of African descent or friends of Africa, we are welcome, because we all want to work together, and that's what we'll talk about, global unification in Africa.
Okay, so for those who want to participate in this conference, what would it entail? Travel plans? I mean, from Nigeria, those listening to us and watching us at the moment.
So you could go to our website, www.diasporaafricaconference.com, and you can see details with tickets. But we have a promo code that you can use to get discounted tickets from Kenya Airways. You can reach us on our cell phone that is on the flyer, and it's also on our website, diasporaafricaconference.com. You can go on our Instagram page. You can also find us on LinkedIn. to be able to reach out to us. It's very seamlessly, it's easy. We have a discount code, get Kenya Airways, fly from Lagos, or get Ethiopian Airlines, fly from Abuja, and you can get to Nairobi. We have Pan Pacific and the JW Marriott in Nairobi, where we'll be hosting this conference to host us. It's an amazing time. You don't need a visa to go to Nairobi. It's open. Just come. Let's
go.
Let's go.
Come, let's go. You didn't announce that I am going to be part of it.
Okay, Joy is also going to be there. If you really want to see her real time,
right?
And you're going to see Joy. She's going to help us with the gala night.
Oh yeah.
Yes, because she says she's a great MC. So we're going to see what she's doing over there. But again, I'm telling Nigerians, we're the stand of Africa, and we at that conference, you're going to see a whole lot of Nigerians. When we say Nigerians in the diaspora, we don't only mean Nigerians who are in the US or in the UK. The Nigerians who are in Kenya, the Nigerians who are in Zanzibar, the Nigerians who are in Zambia, the Nigerians who are in Botswana, South Africa. My friend Charles Ndudin is also coming from South Africa. He's a Nigerian in the diaspora. So my friend Martin is coming from the UK. Dr. Daniel Moses is also coming from the UK. They're always on ground. These are Africans in the diaspora. So we are two Africans in the diaspora. We have those continental ones like me that know where I'm from, and those who are from the transatlantic slavery. Wherever you are, if you are from African descent, let's come back. Let's
do this. Let's talk about investments. Let's talk about how to better our beautiful continent. Thank you so much for being part of the show. But before I let you go, young people are listening to you. I feel riled up. And I'm sure lots of young people are saying there's so much we can do. Yeah. So what would be your last or rather your goodbye statement to them who are wondering they have potentials in whatever sector and they really love Africa and Nigeria and think of how can what can I do with my vision and get impact?
Well, this is very emotional to me because I see a lot of people reach out to us on our Instagram page, on our website, making inquiry from places like Zambia, from Zimbabwe, from Namibia, and they want that opportunity to be part of it. This is what I would advise. If you do not have mentorship, find somebody that you love. Find somebody like you like what they are doing. If Joy is your mentor, reach out to Joy because she does an amazing job. See, Joy, I like how you're hosting this these programs. I want to be like you. If you see Joy in this studio, you know what she's doing is organic. She's doing it out of passion, not even more of compensation, right? Yeah. So when you get mentorship, it will help you. There's nobody that you see that is successful today that doesn't have a mentor, right? And when we have Professor Pilo Lumumba, when I had a conversation with him, he's mentoring a whole lot of people in Africa. The likes of Wodemaya, the one you see on YouTube. When you see them successful, they didn't come out from nowhere. They had mentors. Right. So look for a mentor because you cannot do it by yourself because you're still growing. Remove timidity. Be very, very open. Say the things you mean what you say. And follow your vision. Your vision and your passion will drive you there. That's what I have for my youth here.
Right, uniting Africa for investment. Thank you so much for being part of the program. It's been such a beautiful moment having this discussion. I love Africa, so anything Africa, trust I'm there. Thank you once again for what you're doing as well.
Yeah. Africa United.
Africa United. Africa United. But this is where we end today's edition of Joy Asonye Live. It's been wonderful having these conversations. I hope, like he said, you go to the website, that's diasporaafricaconference.com, and get more details on how you can participate virtually as well if you want. But this is where we close today's edition. Rest assured, we'll be back tomorrow with so much more. Have yourself a restful evening.